Good morning. I never know how to start a video. Hello, good morning. That's the hardest part for me when I get started to record a video is how do open it up? So good morning. The sun's just coming up and still got my sweats on and haven't done my hair yet. But lots of people have been asking me how the Greece trip went. And so I thought I'd record a video on some of the observations I had on the Greece trip. Yeah, really interesting. And the book's going to talk about ancient Greece and Greek traditions and sound and light and healing and medicine. So, perfect timing to go to Greece before the book comes out, hopefully by the end of the year. We just finished chapter 9, and I think there's one more chapter to part 2, and then we'll have a part 3. So really excited about that. Oh my gosh. I think you guys are going to love it. Tons of research, great analogies, and we're really excited about it. So I guess the first shock was flying into Greece. I thought all of Greece, and all the pictures I see, it's all about the blue waters, the little white stucco houses with the blue shutters, and just pure beauty. But apparently that's just with the islands. So we flew into Athens and got to our hotel, and lots of graffiti all over the walls. It kind of smelled in the neighborhood, and it wasn't what I thought. So I had to kind of shift my expectations. And even the people, the locals that we met, were telling us that the neighborhood around the hotel was really dangerous if we went out after dark. So, we did anyway, but not too late. So we stayed pretty close to the hotel. It was so lovely. The food was amazing. I just love Europe because when I go there and travel, I don't get sick like I do in the U.S. Going to, restaurants. A lot of the restaurants have so many food additives and crap in them because we allow all that crap in the United States and we eat it. So they keep serving it to us. But the Europeans, they would refuse. They wouldn't eat that crap that we eat. It's ridiculous. So never got sick, never got a stomach ache, never got gas. Get home and my body's like pissed at me because I'm eating this crappy food again in the United States, and I've had a bellyache for 3 days. We got home Monday night, and it's now Thursday. So the food was amazing. A lot of family-owned restaurants, and it's fun because a lot of them have different locations. So they have a brick and mortar, and then you cross the street, and they have a like a patio restaurant where you can sit outside and eat, drink, and be merry. And so the waiters and waitresses are running across streets all the time, bringing food and taking dishes back, and it's really interesting but fun. So amazing food. Did I say amazing food? It was so good. And then every meal, after the meal, they serve some kind of a sweets or dessert. I noticed at lunchtime it was fruit, like we got watermelon with seeds, yay, and honeydew melon. But then after dinners, they would serve like little portions, couple, 2, 3 bites of a baklava or like a flan. Some of them had little after dinner drink shots that they would serve. It's amazing. So we had just a ton of fun there. We went to all the ruins that we could, get to in the limited time that we were there. So, just was kind of disappointed in all the tourists, and the energy just was kind of bleh, unless you could get away from the tourists, but that was kind of hard to do. Everyone was just gawking and taking pictures. And a lot of things that we noticed that were interesting were it seems like there were so many different civilizations that influenced the ruins, and they've been destroyed by fires, they've been destroyed by wars and takeovers. And one of the locals had told us that they don't know a lot of their history. The example was we were children, we were babies, and then we were adults because they lost everything in between from takeovers, the Spartans, the Romans, and it feels like to me, I don't know, this is what it felt like, the energy that the Greeks were super loving, and they just wanted to be left alone. Like, I don't know, this is the energy I got. I'm sure history books would tell different. Here's what I felt. The Greeks were loving, caring people, and other cultures were attracted to their happiness and their joy and their love and wanted to kind of steal that away. And so they took them over thinking that they were going to get that love and joy and happiness. But you know that if you're not that kind of person, you're just not going to experience it. You got to be of love to have love. And they were of war and then wanted to steal their happiness and love. It's just weird. The energy felt really weird like that. So you would see marble, and then you would see cement in different layers of different civilizations. So a base would be marble, and then you would see other limestone or other bricks that were piled on top of each other. You could tell they were different eras. So you really couldn't tell like what was what, and it was so much of it was destroyed, and they would excavate it, and then they would throw up some kind of a, they have rocks just kind of sitting everywhere. They put some things back together, which they've done a great job, don't get me wrong, but they put some things back together, and I'm not sure that they put it together exactly how it was intended. Some of the rocks that we saw sitting on the end, like they would have holes, which almost looked like maybe a statue had stood on top of that. So maybe the rock should have been like this. It's just really crazy. And then we saw a lot of their old pottery that was preserved in the museums and kind of pieced back together. But we seem to have observed that the other cultures maybe destroyed all their pottery and built it into their walls, because you would see layers of wall, and then you would see these rounded shapes like just put in the wall, almost like they had maybe slaves building the wall and just using whatever they could come up with to fill in, the wall. And it looked like maybe old pottery was in there and just lots of stuff. So lots of stuff was really destroyed, I think. What was impressive in one of the museums, I mean, they have they had rings, they had bowls, pots, bracelets, they had paint. So I never knew this, but a lot of the statues had been painted, and there's still little remnants of reds and blues, but they must have been just beautiful pieces of artwork. But now we just see them as like marble and cream colored or white, because the paint's all worn off, obviously. So that was cool, and you see a lot of them where they have holes where they maybe had adorned the statues with jewels or jewelry, but it was all stolen or maybe put in a museum somewhere, but we didn't see it. Very little pieces of gold that we saw from like the headdresses with the leaves on them. Because I think probably olive trees, amazing everywhere there. And so I have to get back to that, the olive wood. Try to remember that. So that was really interesting. But most of it was just, it's so destroyed, you can't tell what it was used for, why it was used. And they have guesses, but some of it I didn't intuitively think that their guesses were correct. It would have been cool to have a time machine and go back in time and just observe how they lived and who were the gods. Like the temples are so large, but then when you see like pictures or you see in the museum their shoes, they weren't, the Greek people, they weren't, didn't look like they were big, but yet huge openings for the temples. And some observations were that they built the temples for the gods in case they would come and they would fit in there. I don't know. Crazy stuff. Let's see what else. We went to the temple for the gods of healing, gods of medicine, gods of light. So the Poseidon, Apollo, let's see, Asclepius, and then Athena. Of course, I've always had an affinity for Athena, so that was cool. There's just so many stories and mythology stuff. You just don't know how the story came about. Um, One story was, Zeus had his arm cut off and tendons ripped out, and then they were hidden in a cave. And then another god found, or another person found him, brought him back to Zeus, and he healed. And so, I mean, how do you heal from your arm being cut off and tendons being ripped off? So I don't know where the stories came from and how they were formulated. But, I bought a Greek mythology book in Greece because it was fun and just really interesting. One of the most interesting things was the cemetery, the ancient cemetery, and it was interesting because some of the statues and sculptures that were built were from famous artists as like a tombstone, and they're shaking hands. All of them are shaking hands, and the theory is that they person that passed is shaking hands goodbye to the living. So it showed like the family members on there and then shaking hands. That was really cool. And the Sphinx, I never knew before that there were sphinxes other than in Egypt. So I think Egyptians are older than the Greeks. You know, all this stuff is just my observations. Don't quote me on it. I'm not a historian. So I'm just giving you my thoughts about what I experienced in Greece. And so when I saw sphinxes and they said that they were used to protect the graves, like they were on pillars to protect the graves, I thought, was the Sphinx in Egypt put there to protect some kind of a tomb or grave? Because recently they're talking about there is a hollow chamber underneath the feet of the Sphinx in Egypt, and everybody's talking. Well, they know what's underneath there. They're not going to reveal it because if they do, whatever's there, they say it's going to change history and change their all their books. So basically, what I'm hearing rumblings of is if we find out what's underneath there, then it's going to change the I guess the recorded history of their civilization, and they don't want that to come out because they don't want to be wrong in how they've guessed it for the last 6,000 years. So who knows? But there's something underneath there that's proven. And a client told me yesterday they're going to take do a pinhole and put a camera in there and try to see what's in there. I don't know. But it sounds like it's really big. But I'm wondering if that Sphinx was put there to protect a tomb of a really famous person or some kind of valuable information or a tomb of a whole group of people. Don't know. And then also in Greece, they had cremation because I was wondering how come we didn't really see a lot of bones and when they excavated. Of course, there were tomb robbers, and so we saw some things that they said were for storage of water, but I don't know. It almost looked like a tomb. But if the body was stolen and they only found remnants of maybe flowers or something in there, I don't know, then they're just guessing that maybe it was for storage of grain or water or something like that. But who knows? Like, we don't know. It's so crazy. And it was so much fun to just kind of guess. And but some of the places did look like they were wrong. I mean, it felt wrong. What they said it was, it just felt wrong. Again, just my intuition and from all my studying and just kind of tapping into the energies there. Let's see. So going back to the Sphinx, just that was interesting. And the faces and, the mythological, like the tail of a cat and the kind of a lion looking with wings and then a human face. Like, what was that? Was it something or was it just something somebody just made up and they thought it would be fun, right? And we try to figure this out. What do they mean by that? So that's cool. Um, oh, fun stuff that we got to buy. I bought these earrings. They're spirals. So spirals in their culture is long and happy life. So I was digging that because some cultures the spiral is life, birth, and rebirth. And then I have a tattoo with like an abstract eagle on my back with a spiral, which is I've just always had an affinity to the spiral. So long and happy life, and then I got this ring with the spirals and some opal. Nothing's really expensive out there. It wasn't that expensive to buy things. That was cool. That was fun. And then Olivewood. I'm gonna go back to the Olivewood. So we're walking down the streets of a Plaka neighborhood. If you've been there, you probably know the neighborhood. Um, and there was a store with everything was made out of olive wood. So I was totally attracted to the store. And we walked in there, and I just like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. It just felt so warm and um, just wanted to hold everything. So I got a cutting board, a spoon, a cup, a bowl, a jewelry holder, and then they had wooden eggs. I had to have that wooden egg made out of olive wood. It's an egg. So I bought that. I bought a slingshot for my nephew. Yeah, but anyway, it feels really good. Um, I'm sure he's gonna not understand that. He'll just want to shoot things with it. And so that was really cool. And I told the lady, I said, just it feels like everything in here is just it's alive. And she's like, yes. She said, that's what we say. We say that the wood is alive and the wood is breathing, and you could feel it. The whole store was just amazing. So that was cool. Let's see, what else did I get? Oh, then they have this thing. There were eyes everywhere, like these little eyes, and they were goofy looking. They were like usually on a blue background and like a white of the eye and a dot, and they're just like circular eyeballs staring at you everywhere. They were on bags, they were on jewelry, they were on just keychains or just like by themselves. And so I asked, what is this eye I'm seeing everywhere? And they said their belief is the evil eye. So if somebody gives you the evil eye, then if you're wearing an eye or you have an eye with you, then it reflects their negative energy back to you. So, and think about it. I mean, we do this unconsciously, but we think of, somebody we see a really pretty, girl walking down the street. And we're like, oh, she's so pretty. It's kind of sending negative energy because it's like an envy thing, right? So, but we all do it, or we see somebody with a big, large boat and we're envious of them, or we wish we had that. So, apparently, in the culture, they feel that if you wear this eye, which I bought a little necklace with a tiny little eye, if you wear this, then that energy goes back to them and it doesn't absorb to you or, affect you. So a lot of the locals, you were wearing this kind of little, really dainty chain with a little eye. I don't know if you can see it or not. So cute. Um, and then I bought like eye bracelets and stuff for my family and friends and stuff. But it was really interesting. And then you think about it, you have is it the Fatima, the hand? And sometimes they have the eye in the middle of the hand. Then you have the eye of Horus. So, oh my gosh, like all these cultures had adopted the same kind of theories and premise about things, but yet they were miles away. Like, what the heck? It was just really cool. And there were some things that looked like pharaohs, like little statues in Greece that looked like they had like the pharaoh type headdress on. So obviously, Egypt was mixed in with Greece. And I mean, who knows where they traveled or how they traveled and how they got, all the same ideas. It was crazy. But the eye thing is really cool. And I've always been attracted to the eye of Horus. So, of course, I had to have the eye in Greece and then the hand. And I even bought a bracelet that has the hand and then the eye in it. So it was cool. Boy, what else? What else? What else? It was just lovely. Um, I think that's all I can talk to you about right now. But this video will prevent me from having to tell 1,000 of our clients about the trip. And so, anyway, I hope all of you guys are doing well. If you want to find, we're opening new locations of the Harmonic Egg all the time. I leave tomorrow morning for Texas, so if you're in the Dallas, Texas area, Garland, Texas, the website harmonicegg.com has all the locations. And then next weekend we open Modesto, California. November, Penryn, California, near Sacramento. And then December is unincorporated Malibu on a private ranch. So just super exciting stuff. I have an interview coming up with Lee Harris, and I just emailed him this morning to see if he wants to change it to December. We were going to do it in January when we install the Westlake Village eggs there in California. But I'm going to be on the property, kind of where he lives, in December. So that's maybe we'll do that in December. Susie Miller is going to interview me on October 21st. The book should come out by the end of the year. We have the music available if anybody wants to purchase some of the Harmonic Egg music for home listening, like I'm listening to upstairs. Um, Gosh, it's been crazy. Like I can't even believe this is my life. I really can't. This is my life. Wow. It's surreal. Um, like people came in yesterday and they saw Regina's interview that she did with me on reginameredith.com November, last November. And they drove hour and a half from Fort Collins or hour from Fort Collins to come see me and said that they had gone to the Life Vessel Center, which you guys know that's the first technology that I used. It's like a 20-year-old technology in like a box. And in its time, it was amazing. Of course, it was my favorite for a long time, and I got a lot of benefit from it. But they said that they went to the Life Vessel to check it out, and they were just like they just didn't feel any resonance with it. And then they found me through Gaia TV from an old interview of the Life Vessel and blah blah blah. And they said the egg just felt so good, And I was like, "What's the difference? It's so crazy! Like, what is the difference?" I hear this all the time, and so you got to experience it. You really just got to go experience it and check it out and see what you think. Of course, I'm biased, right? And I just did a session yesterday for jet lag, and I've felt amazing. Like this morning, I got up at 3:30. Greece is 9 hours different, so um, I got up at 3:30, and I just after my egg session yesterday, my headache went away. I feel amazing today. It was so quiet. Getting up at 3:30 and just starting to work, and I edited chapter 9 of the book and listening to my music. So loving life. So I'll sign off for now because I do have to get to the barn to go see my horse, and she's been neglected. But I hired a babysitter for her, so she has a 13-year-old little girl that goes and spends an hour a day with her when I'm gone. So that's cool. Um, Good, bad, or indifferent because she makes her work more than I do. She's probably like, "Dang, this little girl." So I'm gonna go see her today and then leave again tomorrow. So anyway, I hope you guys all have a great day. Thank you for tuning in and hope to see you soon. Bye.